for women, at times when we are growing, when age catches upon us, then we tend to adjust it. And at times when you find somebody, you know that ideally this is not the person I want to marry, or this is not the person I want to settle with, but you tend to compromise. And there is nothing wrong with compromising, but the extent of compromise that goes against us, that makes us lose ourselves.
Yes.
That is when the relationship becomes wrong for you, because for a relationship to work, there has to be compromise on both parts. But how much are you compromising? I would say that when you compromise to the extent that you lose yourself, you compromise to the extent that whatever is important to you, you begin to change. And that is what I would say, that the relationship is becoming wrong for you. So as I was saying, so women, we tend to just drop our preferences and then we settle. Some people, their biological clock is ticking, and they don't want to have children outside of wedlock. So they'll prefer to be in a stable relationship and have those children. But at a point comes that you realize that this relationship is not working, and then we continue to stay because of the children. But at the end of the day, when the children grow up and leave, what do you have?
Yes.
Do you have a roommate?
Justice, what's your thoughts on this one?
It's a tough one. Because it has to do with compromise. And I think if you fall in love with somebody and through that love you compromise, then that's okay.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Because no one is perfect.
Yes.
And so you love somebody and they have a few faults here and there, and you can work with that because the love is there to hold everything else together.
That's it.
Does that make sense? So, and that's how it is sometimes. If you like it. I think the problem normally comes from when there are pressures on you. Be it a family pressure, be it society, be it your biological clock, whatever it is. And you compromise, not because of love, but you compromise because of that particular issue. So if you want to have children because you're getting older and you meet somebody and you go for it, basically because you want to have children, then you're going to find yourself in that kind of a situation if you're not lucky. Nevertheless, sometimes you might not love somebody at the beginning, but as time goes, you grow in love.
So the love grows on you.
So there are different ways of looking at it. But I think the most important thing is going into a relationship because of a society or biological want or something like that. Then yes, you might find yourself in a relationship where after you've achieved what you want, then there's nothing else to it.
What next?
There's nothing else to it.
When you mention that, someone sent a text message earlier and says to me that he says, many of the older generation, our moms and dads, claim that they didn't marry out of love. It was arranged by their parents and extended family, but they grew to love each other after a while. And many of their marriages have lasted longer than, that of our generation who marry out of love. Is that true?
Right. I mean, I'll quote my dad here. My dad says is infatuation. He says there's nothing like love. That's what he says. He says there's nothing like love, and it doesn't last and blah. But there are also people who have found each other through love, whose relationship have lasted forever. Does that make sense? So I don't think arranged marriages do work. I think their era was more of discipline and being humble and being willing to give.
Okay.
Those times, that was how a family was set up. Things have changed.
Exactly.
And I think we cannot, as much as we can draw on that as an example. The society of today is very different from the society of our grandmothers and mothers. And so it makes it a bit more difficult. I mean, how many people will have an arranged marriage today?
Yes.
If it's not through tradition, strong tradition. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So it's just the way it is.
Yeah. And, because I had some examples here, like marriage of convenience, when you probably, you've come and you're thinking, oh, I need to kind of sort my immigration status out and stuff like that. And you meet this guy, and because I've seen...
There's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot. I've seen this guy who wanted this lady's... Well, so he made it seem like he wanted this lady.
Oh, yeah, that's what it is.
And then this lady was smart. And then intentionally told him that, oh, she's also now working on hers. In fact, she had hers, but she said, oh, I'm also now working on mine. The guy just run, so it was like he was actually wanting to date her so that they can get married, and then through that, so that is one. And also marrying out of pity. Yeah.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah. Marrying out of pity. Yes. And again,
that's a big sacrifice.
Wow.
Again, I've got an example of that because, someone was also, they had an argument, and then the husband says, oh, no man would ever marry because of your background and what have you,
I understand what you mean.
So you should be lucky that I got married to you.
Oh,
and stuff
I
like
know
that.
a couple like that. The husband actually told the wife, I did you a favor by marrying you.
Exactly.
But when you look at it, you think that because of you had your immigration status sorted out and you married this woman. But if you look at it, this woman is far more, there is more quality to her than you, but because of just that little thing, you use that phrase for your wife. And we had to tell him that don't you ever say that to your wife again, otherwise you lose the beautiful relationship you have.
Yeah, so sometimes it's hard, and then you get the occasions where maybe out of wedlock they've gotten together intimacy and they've gotten pregnant, and then they force themselves to get married and all of that because they don't want to be shamed. And and then what I've got here also is marrying because you admire them or respect them, but then there was not love per se. So you confuse that respect and the fact that you admire them, which is what Justice said, infatuation.
But that one can be worked on.
How can that be worked on?
Because I believe that at whatever stage you are in your relationship, you should realize that this is what we have. Are we ready to work upon it? And if we are ready, both of us have to be committed. This is our relationship. Things are not really working. We got together for the wrong reason. 5 years down the line, are we going our separate ways or are we staying together? If we are staying together, let's work on it. Because we cannot just kid ourselves and say that we are just there. Just being there, and the days will pass, the days pass into weeks, months, and the years are passing by. You are not getting any younger.
Yeah.
You better enjoy, marry well and enjoy it or endure it.
So endure it or enjoy it.
I think it's a choice that we all have to think about and just make that choice, because we are not talking or things are bad between us, and we cannot just leave it like that.
Yeah, but I think we've kind of touched on this before. Being in a relationship is not all rosy.
Yes.
And sometimes, especially when pride comes in and other factors come in, then we think the other person is not worth our time.
Okay,
I think that is crucial.
That too, yeah.
When in a relationship, just like the example you gave of the man telling the wife, I did you a favor. How can you say that? Well, are you saying you are better?
Yeah.
That's my point. So sometimes in a relationship, we think, and we are all human, and we come to thoughts of that we somehow are better than our partner, and we are better off without them.
Yeah.
And that is when we start being a bit arrogant, a bit disrespectful, because we think we lose nothing by losing them.
Yes.
Yes. So
that's taking each other for granted.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
But especially when one takes the other for granted even more. Because like Justice said, one person feels that, oh, he's not worth my time or she's not worth my time. I don't really care about her anymore. And I think that's a difficult one. it can actually breed resentment and all of that.
That is where the intimacy just fizzles out. It fizzles out and you are living like roommates and there is no commitment. But yeah, because it does happen. And it can carry on for years, and that is when affairs and the rest come in and everything.
That's it, because you're giving yourself that room or that excuse to do that.
To go and
because you are justifying yourself for doing what you're doing.
Wow. We will come back to this. Don't go anywhere.
Consider that life wasted. Consider the heart of the family ripped apart. Consider the potential never realized. Are these the things you consider when you carry a knife? It's not about street cred or respect. It's about staying alive. Drop that knife and save a life. Quentin Slowly, supporting all family and young people.
What do you like for breakfast?
Well, it depends what mood I'm in. If I'm happy, I like a little bit of porridge with banana because I'm feeling healthy. If I'm in a...
Me, I like a bit of fruit. Nice apples, sliced apples.
I love a cinnamon and raisin bagel, some scrambled eggs, and a...
I say nice English bit.
Salad, fruit and orange.
I like wholemeal bagel with a bit of cream cheese on it and some bacon and then some avocado. And on the side, I like to have
fried egg with bacon, with baked beans, toast.
I normally take my cocoa. Yeah, I'm a Ghanaian. I'm a typical Ghanaian, so I like my cocoa.
I'm not too sure. I normally don't eat breakfast.
It doesn't matter how you like your breakfast, or you may not like breakfast at all, but you will love the sound of your radio when the breakfast is Afropolitan. Watch out for the new ABN Radio Breakfast Show with Efuadum. ABN Radio, London's Afropolitan radio station.
It was a well-paying job, respectable, wearing a suit and tie every day. But I drank 24/7. Drank on the way to work, drank at work.
I never could come to terms with admitting that I had an alcohol problem or a pill problem.
I decided to get clean, and so I went to the Narconon program.
Not only did I handle my drug addiction, I completely knew how to live life.
Call Narconon today at 01435 512 460. 01435 512 460.
Hi, this is Rodney Hines.
And I'm Michael.
Join us on the Voice of Sports show each and every Saturday on ABN Radio.
We'll keep you bang up to date with all the latest football scores and we'll discuss all the big talking points in the world of sport. So don't forget, join us this Saturday, 4 till 6 on ABN Radio UK.
ABN Radio.
Thank you once again for joining us on the Bedtalk Show. We are live on ABN Radio, London's premier Afropolitan station. And yes, we are talking about settling in a wrong marriage. And yes, how does that happen? Is there anything like that? Yes, and unfortunately there is, and that is why we are discussing it this evening. And so, yes, we've spoken a bit about what some of the things that actually make people settle in a wrong relationship, and we did speak earlier about probably, you get pregnant and because you don't want to be shamed or what have you, you rush into marriage and you find out that this person is not the kind of person that you probably should have married. He's not your rib. You are not that part. And so there's a lot of problems that stems up. How do you deal with it? How do you make it work without getting out of the relationship? And so Justice and Selassie is right here with me. And so Justice and Selassie, what about someone who marries? Because, for instance, you know how these young girls these days, they're so materialistic. So therefore they see an MP driving this V8 and what have you. And at that point, all they want is the material things. And therefore they marry, have this lavish wedding, and then in a relationship. Though these are part of things that cause people to fall in wrong relationships. What do you think about that?
I mean, who do you blame in that situation is my question. Is young ones or the younger generation, I don't blame them for I don't know how to word it. I don't want to say they're being materialistic, but for wanting the good things in life.
Okay.
I don't necessarily blame them for that, because behind them and around them should be a family.
Yeah.
Mom, dad, siblings, uncles, aunties, who are supposed to be there to advise. So, if the family around her is supporting her to go for the materialistic kind of relationship, because it comes with a house, it comes with a car, it comes with this, it comes with that, then I think she is being misled.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it. So I see it from her point of view. I don't really blame her for it. Rather, I'll look at the man who probably is older and should know better. That's the way I see it. That's the way I see it. I look. But unfortunately, which is again, I think probably I stand alone in this, in that if you are older, you want an older person that you can communicate with.
Yeah.
Who understands your way of thinking.
But Justice, at that moment, that's not what they
want. I'm saying I might be alone in this.
You know some men want, I know one who likes like the very young ones, nice, slim.
Why, is it to prove that he's young? Is he trying to convince himself?
I don't know.
I have reasons for doing it, but that is what they want. So for me, with the support of your family or sibling, family or parents, that young woman will make that choice and they will force her into that marriage. Yeah. And for me, that is a choice you have made with your family's consent. So whatever problems you have in that relationship,
it can, but
it will come. But for me, on the man's side too, they want that thing. That young girl to parade around, to travel around with. So both of them have in their motives for marrying.
A classic example is, if I have a daughter, there's no way my daughter is going to marry somebody way older, who has money, because I can foresee that coming.
Yeah.
So you are right. It depends on the family.
But what if at that moment in time, your daughter comes and says, "Oh, I am in love with this man. He's the one that I want to marry." Because at that point, she is blinded by everything else. What she's feeling at that point, she's thinking that is love.
Our pastor said something last Sunday. He said, if your daughter comes and they said, "This is the person I'm in love with," at times you don't have to shut it down. You have to welcome them, but you give them the tools to identify that I've made a mistake. Because the moment you close the door,
that is when they go for it.
But you have to welcome them, and then you really engage them. You welcome that person to the family, and gradually they will see the errors of their ways.
Hopefully.
Yes.
Wow.
It's going to be, that one will be very painful, but it's something you have to stick at as a family. Invite that person for family meals, do things, and then gradually they would realize it. Even though it doesn't work like that most of the time. Yeah, it doesn't. But yeah. But that is when you tell your child because of ABCD. So I think you should wait. And if they don't, they marry and they face the realities of it. But then you still have to support them in that marriage.
That's the thing. That's the thing. So how can you tell that they are in a wrong relationship, or how can one tell that he or she is in a wrong relationship?
For me, it's really simple for me, because there are two things. We talked about compromise. Are you compromising yourself? Are you compromising your own needs?
Yeah.
Because as a human being, you had aspiration, you had things that you wanted to do. And even though certain things may delay because of the realities of life, have you given up? At times when you wake up and you look at yourself, that is not you. You have completely changed. I mean, let me say, you don't even communicate with your family. You don't even do certain things. That is when you realize that you've lost yourself.
Yeah.
You are no longer you. I'm talking it as a woman. You are no longer you. And let's say in some relationship, you have to eat what your spouse wants. You have to dress a certain way. You can't interact with your friends, and he doesn't allow you. I'm talking about coercive relationship, controlling,
that is
and the rest.
Control and manipulation.
Yes,
actually.
Things like that. Then you realize that you have made that mistake. I'm talking about the extreme.
It's good you're saying the extreme, because.
Yeah. But at times, those extremes, it's disguised as love.
That's what I was going to go.
So let me allow you to.
Because if I don't allow my wife to wear short skirts, when we're going out. Does that mean I'm controlling her because I don't love her? Or does that mean I treasure her so much that I don't want her to reveal herself? Being a traditional person.
That is a tricky problem.
For me, when it comes to dressing.
So the dressing is, that's what I'm saying. It depends on where you're coming from. Like the community I work in, sometimes they look at me and they laugh. There's like, if you have a daughter, she'll be wearing robes all the time. It's because they know my mindset. It doesn't mean, I have an ideology that a woman who is fully clothed is more attractive than a woman who's revealing herself. Because I can foresee everything. So why am I bothered?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So but I can see where the controlling can be very extreme to that extent. But then you also said something about you kind of giving too much. And it comes down to you have to give, but don't give so much that you are unhappy by giving.
Yeah.
I think that is also crucial. In any relationship, if you give and you're expecting something back, then you're in the wrong relationship. Yeah. If you really love somebody, you do things for them to make them happy because their joy is your joy.
I also say that if the relationship is affecting you in the negative way, then there is a problem.
If you say negative,
let's say a woman who has a baby and chooses to take. I want to take 3 years till my daughter goes to reception before I go to school. It's something you have discussed with your spouse and you've agreed it. When that 3 years come and you want to go back to work and he's telling you that I still want you to stay at home.
Yeah, that's all right.
So for me, I would say you've given too much. It's something you've done 3 years. You know that the joy of it is that in 3 years' time, I'm going to go back to work, and maybe you've done little short courses to improve yourself and you were looking for, and then he finds a nice way of telling you not to go back to work. I think, Adwoa, does that fit into your example?
That kind of fits into, but the other thing that I was thinking of is, for instance, when you start becoming anxious of your relationship, anxious of your spouse
from work.
Yes, and even to the point where even when you want to have a conversation with your spouse, you kind of have to think things through before you talk. Because everything that you say is judged or taken in a wrong way. So there's that anxiety. It's affecting you in such a negative way, to the point where you start losing your self-confidence and all of that. If he's talking down on you all the time, if he doesn't appreciate who you are and how you look, he's forever criticizing you. If you cough, he says you've coughed too loud. If you laugh, he says you've laughed too loud. It happens.
So you tend to lose your personality because you are confused. You'll be confused.
And then if you take off your clothes, it's like, oh, your tummy has become too big. Forgetting that you've had children. If you're eating, it's like, hey, is this what you're eating at this time of the night? So all these things,
it's like constant bombardment.
Yeah. So does that mean that he is it because he loves you that he's behaving like that? No.
I don't know. It's a tough one, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
There are those who probably do it because they love. I wouldn't say those who criticize their partners. Too severely. There's a jokey way of, and I don't think that's what we're talking about.
No.
If it's too severe.
At times, it can be in a joking way, but when you realize your spouse does not like it,
you stop.
Because I love you, even though I wanted to joke in that way, I'm going to stop.
You stop.
I love you, so I'm not going to do this. I feel like telling you that your stomach is overflowing, but I'm not going to say it because I know.
Hurt you.
Yeah, so I'm not going to say
it. That's what I'm saying. So that comes with those sacrifices.
Yes.
Where you don't do things because you want to make your partner happy.
Yeah, I think it's a difficult one. And I think also when everything becomes a routine, there is no passion.
Yeah.
You're just doing it because you know you have to do it. By 8 a.m., breakfast is ready. Okay.
There is nothing wrong with routine, Adwoa, but when
it becomes too much, and if there is no passion, then there's something wrong.
Yeah.
Routine with passion is nice. It's exciting. You want to do this, but there's that affection and everything else. But once you lose that passion, you're just doing it. It's like you're just existing, but you're not living.
Yeah. I think that comes when communication has broken down completely. You talk about the mundane things, the paying of bills, the kids and everything. I'm going to work, I'll see you later. You are able to say that to each other. But beyond that, there is nothing. And that is, so you think you are communicating, but you are not communicating about the two of you. It's just the normal things of life. That is what you have to watch.
Yeah.
So we've talked about these problems. It's really scary, you know.
It's scary, but it's something that is happening.
It's a reality,
you know. And the thing is, if you are in a loving relationship, and you kind of found your soulmate, you don't understand. You really don't understand. But then, if you are with a husband, because. And I say that in quotes because you've got a soulmate and you've got a husband. You've got someone that you can gel with, you laugh with, you talk to. It's like you laugh at everything. Something that is not even funny, you two find it funny. You connect so much. You enjoy each other's company any day, anytime. But then you have this that is like, okay, I've married a husband. He looks after me. He provides. He does this. He supports and all of that. However, there is something missing.
There is something missing.
Yes.
But can it be brought back?
That is what we want to arrive at in the long run. Can it be brought back? What can we do to bring it back?
Because for me, once you are in a relationship and you want to be in it, both of you have the responsibility to work at it. Because you cannot just leave things like that. For how long can you just leave it? I know some people can carry on for years, but a point has to come that you have to call a timeout and say, this is not working. I don't feel the passion. I don't feel anything. Let's talk. Let's work at it.
If you are listening to this program, it's the Bedtalk Show. If you've only just tuned in, we're talking about settling in a wrong kind of relationship, or let me say marriage, because with an ordinary relationship, you can probably just quit if you see the warning sign. But if you are in a marriage and then it suddenly hits that, this is the wrong kind of relationship, maybe, or this is the wrong person for me. What can you do to make it better? Give me a call if you can on 0208 670 7300. 0208 670 7300. You could also send a WhatsApp message on 0788 74 75940. I'd like to hear what your thoughts are on this, because for some people that have experienced it or that have gone through it a little bit, they know that it is not a nice thing to be in. You kind of feel trapped in a relationship. You're scared to come out. You're scared to divorce. But obviously, we are here to help to make it better. And so if you are in that kind of relationship, let us know, share your experiences, or you have been, or you know someone who has been, give us a call. But for now, don't go anywhere. Keep your dials locked. We will be right back.
Consider that life wasted. Consider the heart ripped out of a family. Consider the potential never realized. Are these the things you consider when you carry a knife? It's not about street cred. It's about staying alive. Drop that knife. Save your life.
Hi, this is Rodney Hines.
And I'm Michael.
Join us on the Voice of Sports show each and every Saturday on ABN Radio.
We'll keep you bang up to date with all the latest football scores, and we'll discuss all the big talking points in the world of sport. So don't forget, join us this Saturday, 4 till 6 on ABN Radio UK.
Tune in to the new ABN Breakfast Show from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. The London City Show has evolved into an all-new breakfast show with sizzling slices of juicy newsy current affairs served with junior jumbo-sized convos on issues you should be aware of. What did I just say? The ABN Breakfast Show, the Afropolitan breakfast you can't afford to miss.
This is ABN Radio, projecting rich African culture through the power of radio.
Welcome back to the Bedtalk Show with me, Adwoa. We are live on ABN Radio. You can catch us on the DAB app, tuning app online on abnradiouk.com. And also we are streaming live on YouTube. Again, just put ABN Radio UK on the search bit, and then you can watch us live as we go along. So talking about settling in a wrong kind of relationship, and we were talking about routine. Na from USA, thank you so much, Na. You are always such a great support. We appreciate you. And she's saying that routine with consequences or scolding is a problem in the marriage. And I think I so agree with that. It should not be that. Also, Carl from Canada actually is saying that are we just too quick to find reasons to quit? Unlike the older generation, it seems we live a throwaway society. How does that mindset impact our relationship today?
Yeah.
Well, that is a question for you.
I think it works both ways.
Okay.
Because at some point in time, if the relationship is a wrong one that you've settled in, you need to get out. You have to. If you don't get out, you're not going to get another one. I'm not saying don't work at it.
Yeah.
But when it's obvious you've given all the possible avenues for it to be to rekindle, and the other party has made their mind up, then I suggest that maybe they are not for you. And sometimes they're just not. And you walk out, and within some time later, you get actually your soulmate.
So does not being compatible means that you are in a wrong relationship?
At times it means that, but when you take effective ways to work at the relationship. Let's say you work at it after 3-6 months, you evaluate things. I mean, it has to be done constructively. You have to bring in either a relationship coach or counseling or whatever you prefer to do. But it has to be done in such a way that you weigh the options, then you come to that decision that it can be worked at or it will not work. Or it has a lot of work and both of us are committed to doing it. Because if both of you are not committed, then you have to be truthful to each other. It may be painful, it may hurt, but you have to be truthful to each other and say that I'm not ready to do what it takes. So let's go our separate ways. Or I'm ready to do the work, to spend the money to get professional help, to do the job, to do all the exercise. If you have to go on couples retreat, whatever it takes, I'm going to do it. And then after that, you evaluate it and then see whether it's working. If it's not, then you have to make those painful choices.
Wow. That is a difficult one.
But I believe that you have to work at it. You have to give it your all before you make that decision.
I believe that too. I always say that don't fight for your marriage before you decide that don't just quit.
No.
Always fight for it.
I think nowadays, because we have that selfish desire that I can get it somewhere. It's not working. I can throw it away. I can get it somewhere. There's an alternative. I can get it somewhere. So that drive in us to fight, to stick at it, we lose it. So we just go our separate ways and try. But I believe that even sticking at it and working at it can even grow your relationship if it's done genuinely.
Yeah, because I think that's what Carl is trying to say. Because it's it's the mindset and it's impacting our relationships in a certain way. Because like you said, we feel that maybe we can get it out there. But then again,
the myth of the greener grass.
Then again, there are also people who feel scared to take that plunge. Hence, they are in that relationship and they want to make it work. There are people who have that phobia of being single.
I think you cannot be loved if you don't love yourself.
Yes.
True.
And you cannot love yourself if you're not willing to be single. You've got to be brave enough to say, I'm willing to wait. You need to learn to live with you. And if you can do that, then you are not rushing into a relationship because you want companionship.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? And so then you don't end up in a relationship where you've just settled in. So it's like one thing after the other.
Okay. So for now, I want us to be able to give some kind of advice or some kind of tips to help to make, if they have decided that they want to work things, they want to stay in it, they want to try. I want us to focus on trying in that relationship, trying in that marriage, trying to make it work. However, what are some of the characteristics that, to look out for in a wrong relationship? What gives it away?
I would say that, do you feel safe in your relationship, emotionally and physically? You have to ask yourself that question and answer it yourself. Do you find the element of control and your spouse trying to change you? Because in a relationship, we grow.
Yes.
If I'm growing, maybe when you married me, I wasn't that clever. Now I'm getting clever. I've educated myself. Do you resent me for being knowledgeable? And are you trying to take that knowledge away from me? Are you trying to belittle me? And also, do you try to intimidate me, assassinate my character? And in that relationship, in that marriage, are you trying to hide me? Do there come a place that we go somewhere and you're not so proud to show me off, to introduce me as your wife, as your husband? And do you support me, my dreams, my aspiration? Even though it's going to take 4 or 5 years for me to finish that course or to do whatever, but are you supporting me? The money may not be there, but that encouragement, that little savings, whatever I want to do, is it important to you? Have we even make the time so that we talk about it, that my wife wants to do a course and the next 2 years we're going to be saving towards it or something, or you just brush it aside? For me, those are some of the things I would look out for.
Well, Justice, what are some of the characteristics you can think of as well?
From a man's perspective, that is a bit different, isn't it? We will look at whether you are there when we need you. We think of our belly.
Okay.
So does she care about what you're eating, what you've eaten, what you're going to eat? Is she always out?
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one. That for a man, because for a man, you want your wife to be around you.
However,
for good pep. Hold on.
Okay.
Let me come there. And especially our some of our women, we don't say don't follow God or don't go up to God. But sometimes they spend all the time.
We are God chasers.
Yeah, there we go. You spend all the time in church. I'm not saying don't do that. But all I'm saying is, if you are not home.
Justice, can I ask you a question? I'm not even going to let you land.
Go on.
If we are home, are you home with us? Or you just have you just like the idea of us being home?
No. If I go with this policy, if I'm not home and you are not home, I'm not bothered.
Yeah.
At all, because what are you doing at home if I'm not? I can't. I will not be bothered about
but when you're
because
home,
some men, they don't want. Let's say you're not home, and because you're not home, and maybe I can find a babysitter, so I want to do something with my girlfriends.
Yeah,
but some men are against it. I'm not home, but I'm not really comfortable with you doing things.
I would love you to go and do things with your girlfriend, so that I can also go and hang out with my boyfriend. That makes sense. So for me, it's. But I think for men, we look at that settling in a different way.
But then, what about the situation where this person that you're with, whether man or woman, does not feel loved, does not feel appreciated, does not feel, even when you are home with them, you are not chatting, you're not communicating. Therefore, she finds comfort outside. So she decides she likes to go out because for her, that's what's keeping her sane.
You see that?
Because there's no point being at home.
I'm not speaking for all men.
Yeah.
But I know men who are very quiet. I have friends who are very quiet. And will sit at home and be quiet. It doesn't mean they don't love their spouses. I think they have different ways of showing it.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think we all have different ways. Some people don't speak much, but will do something else. And men especially, and I am now growing to understand that actually, you know what, you need to keep. We used to have this saying that once you've caught the elephant or something, there's no point in wooing again.
Wow.
Yeah. We used to say that, you know, once you've caught it, why would you keep?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But as you mature, you actually do realize that you have to do that.
You have to keep at it.
You have to keep doing it.
Yeah.
So some people, it's not that they are doing it intentionally, but lack of knowledge makes them think there's nothing more.
It's okay. What they are doing is okay. It's acceptable.
Yeah. But I think some people also do it, not intentionally, but they can't be bothered because they've taken each other for granted. The connection has fizzled out.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's like, okay, you're home, but hey, you mean nothing to me right now.
And I think especially the UK, I don't know about Ghana, Nigeria, where we, you know, in the UK, materialistic achievements make you think you can survive without the other.
Yeah.
It is crucial.
Right.
You know, having this much money in my account means, you know what do I get from you? Nothing. I can move on. I don't need you for anything, so I can move on. So sometimes the materialistic gains also drive relationships apart. Because there's no... I'm not saying rely on the person, but it's nice to know that this person is part of me and we share our bills. And when you start thinking, I can sort my bills, I don't need you. I can, and so there are a lot of ways where that unsettlement can creep into the relationship.
Wow, I think that you're both quite right. I would also say that once that you start shutting down, or we start getting withdrawn emotionally from your partner, that
Adwoa, what causes for that emotional withdrawal?
My question is, are you giving it somewhere else?
I don't think that when you shut down,
I think
you are hurt and you shut down.
Yes.
Oh, no. For those who are hurt.
So you are hurt. No, it starts with you being hurt and you shut down. Or you feel violated, you feel unappreciated, so you shut down. You shut down for a couple of months, weeks, and then that's where I always use an office setting, and your colleague at lunch starts paying compliments and you start having lunch together, and that's when emotional affairs starts happening and everything. But your intention is not, I've shut down, I'm going to do something. But because you are so hurt, you don't really feel like talking to the person, and you don't really feel like getting intimate with the person.
Yeah.
That's from a woman's perspective.
That's from a woman's perspective.
Yeah, because I've heard a lot of women, and I mean a lot of women who've said that, oh, I don't desire my husband anymore. Like, I don't desire my husband sexually.
You don't like? Yeah, I don't like him, yeah.
Yeah. I don't desire him sexually. Like, they're not sexually attracted to him. You know, someone says to me, my husband will touch me and caress me for how many minutes and I still don't get wet.
But is that, but see, what I would want to know is why?
Because that connection, that emotional...
is broken. Issues have not been dealt with.
Yeah.
You ignore me, you don't spend quality time. There are a lot of reasons that leads to that.
Well, let me take the news on top of the hour. We will be right back.
More news, more information. This is ABN News on the Hour.
From the Sky News Centre at 10, one of Britain's most wanted fugitives has been captured in Barcelona. Jamie Acord was suspected of being involved in the supply of drugs. The 41-year-old from South London was detained by armed officers after leaving a gym this afternoon. President Trump has suggested there's an epidemic of stabbings in London, claiming he's recently read about a hospital in the capital being like a war zone because of knife crime. He also told the National Rifle Association the city doesn't have guns, but it does have knives. Labour's Shadow Trade Secretary Barry Gardner says he thinks Mr Trump's argument is simplistic and foolish.
There is a problem with knife crime. We've seen that. But the key thing here is that knives cannot commit the same mass murder as guns can.
Labour and the Conservatives didn't make significant gains in England's local elections. Jeremy Corbyn's party took control in Plymouth but failed to break through in London, while the Tories managed to hold on in key areas. The Prime Minister has been speaking in Dudley, where they gained 7 seats.
We've seen great results around the country, not just here in the West Midlands. Of course, in London, we've held Wandsworth and Westminster and Hillingdon and Barnet, councils that Labour were targeting, but Labour failed in their efforts.
The Liberal Democrats had a good night, gaining 4 more councils than before, but UKIP collapsed. Kensington Palace has announced Meghan Markle's parents will attend the royal wedding between her and Prince Harry. The bride's father, Thomas, will walk her down the aisle at the ceremony later this month. They'll meet the Queen and Duke of Edinburgh, as well as other key royal family members, ahead of the big day later this month. Steven Gerrard says he's in no doubt he's made the right decision to take over as the new Rangers manager. The former Liverpool and England captain has signed a 4-year deal. And Brighton have all but ensured they'll avoid Premier League relegation after beating second-place Manchester United. Chris Hughton's side held on for a 1-0 win to move 8 points clear of the bottom 3. That's the latest. I'm Simon English.
Consider that life wasted. Consider the heart ripped out of a family. Consider the potential never realised. Are these the things you consider when you carry a knife? It's not about street cred. It's about staying alive. Drop that knife. Save your life.
Mixpiration with Bright every Sunday evening from 6 to 8 p.m. is just fun. It's exciting. It's a mix of contemporary R&B and pop gospel music right here on ABN Radio. Enjoy great themes every Sunday evening with Bright on Mixpiration, a blend of great inspiring songs just for your Sunday evening relaxation. Tune in from 6 to 8 p.m. this and every Sunday. They're on ABN Radio, London's Afropolitan radio station. Tune in to the new ABN Breakfast Show from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. The London City Show has evolved into an all-new breakfast show with sizzling slices of juicy newsy current affairs served with junior jumbo-sized convos on issues you should be aware of. What did I just say? The ABN Breakfast Show, the Afropolitan breakfast you can't afford to miss.
This is your girl, Diana Hamilton, and you're listening to ABN Radio, London's Afropolitan station. I love this station.
Yes, we all love the station. This is ABN Radio, London's premier Afropolitan station. And yes, you can catch us on the DAB, tune in app, online at abnradiouk.com. This is the Bedtalk Show if you've only just tuned in, and we are talking about relationships, marriage. If you have settled in a wrong marriage, and someone would ask, what does that mean? So if you went into a marriage for any other reason other than love, then obviously you settled in a wrong marriage. And as a relationship or marriage was going on, did love grow on you, or did you find yourself drifting apart from your better half? So if you've got anything to add to what we are discussing here in the studio, give us a call on 0208 670 7300. 0208 670 7300. You could also send a WhatsApp text or call on WhatsApp on 0788 7475 940. 0788 7475 940. And I've got Justus and Selassie right here with me, so they will attempt to answer your question. If it's a question or if you've got a contribution, by all means give us a call and give us that contribution too. So we're talking about characteristics to look out for in a wrong kind of relationship. And moving on, I think the criticism is also something to look out for. If I mentioned that earlier on, if your partner is criticizing your every single move, then I think that can be a sign as well.
I kind of, well, not only is it a sign, the question is, what are they comparing you to? Mm-hmm. I have this thinking.
I have that I had no relationship where the man compares the present wife to the ex.
That's
and
what I'm saying. So
that really makes me angry and so much annoyed, because if your ex is an ex for a reason, So why are you bringing that ex into?
And so you're right. For me, when somebody starts criticizing you, for example, if I've grown up only eating my mother's food, then the only food I know tastes good is my mom's food. I can only say my mom's food is bad when I've tasted somebody else's food. Then I can compare and go, Mom, your food is not good enough.
Yeah.
So what I mean is, when you are criticizing somebody, you've gone too far. You've done this. Who are you comparing that person to? And I think that is sometimes an indication
that they're seeing
to the
somebody
other person to clue on.
Yeah, but what if they're not actually telling you that they're comparing you with
No, they won't
someone?
tell you. They will never tell you that.
So in their mindset, they have this thing, this figure, this way. I want my spouse to dress a certain way. They have that image,
and you're not doing it, and that's
you are not doing it. And what I'm saying is that you are not growing together in the relationship. You are not appreciating the change. You are not looking at the change happening physically, mentally, psychologically. You're not looking at it and appreciating it that my spouse, my husband, my wife is growing and we are both changing, we are developing either for the negative or positive.
Yeah.
And this is what I can do to help you, but you've grown too big. You don't appreciate it.
Yeah.
Because I believe that in a relationship, we all have to grow. Because I know of a couple that the wife was a bit timid and everything, and she really gave the husband the traditional marriage, serving the husband, everything, bowing to a need. And as she grew and she started working and everything, things begin to change. But the husband still compares her to the past. You've changed, your friends have changed you. No, I go to work, things have changed. So if you come home, there is nothing wrong with getting your dinner and everything. And he's taking it in a negative way.
It's a traditional man.
Yes, but then you have to try and also you are traditional, but you have to change your mindset.
But that's the reason why I say that what you start in a relationship with, you better continue.
You're right.
Because once you start doing something, so from the onset, don't create a certain ambience or a certain, if you know you cannot continue it.
But she didn't know.
Although, at the same time, Celeste is also right. Because when I go, I know if I was in Ghana,
yes,
I'll probably have a houseboy or something.
Yeah.
Or a house girl or something.
Exactly.
If I get home, I don't need to go into the fridge to look for food for me and my son because we go home first.
Yeah.
There will be somebody there to sort us out.
Exactly, yeah.
Here, I do understand that sometimes my wife comes home after me.
Yeah.
It's my responsibility to make sure I am fed and my little boy is fed.
Yeah.
And if possible, food is also ready for her. It's courteous, it's
Which
nice.
is what it should
That's
be
what it should be.
normally.
I shouldn't think because I'm this traditional guy, so I don't go into the fridge.
Yeah.
So that's why I say you grow.
Yeah, you have to.
You change, you grow, you adapt.
Yeah.
But when she's home, she will do it.
Yes.
But when she's not, I also need to understand that the circumstances we are in are different.
So this is where the person needs to understand that,
But you are refusing to understand. So she comes, you've come and you are hungry, and maybe you make yourself a cup of tea and biscuits and you are waiting for her to come, rush, put food on. You are hurting yourself, you are hurting your relationship. Some people are really stubborn like that. They are stubborn.
I mean, I can understand if you've got a partner who has no idea what to do in the kitchen.
Come on, you come.
But that's not an excuse. So there is sauce in the freezer. You know how to put rice in the rice cooker and cook it and eat.
Yeah, but then when there is soup and they have no clue how to do the fufu, then they have to.
So you have to do rice. You have to do rice. You have to eat gari. You have to change. You have to boil vegetables and add it to the soup and eat.
But then I also think that when it gets to a point where you don't feel like you anymore.
Yeah.
Then that's also a big problem.
I mean, and I think you both said it, don't try and change your partner too much. There might be things they do you don't like.
Yes.
But if you don't change them, you've got to take them for what they were.
What they are. Let me say justice. I know my spouse does not really like short things, but before I married, I really love showing my legs and but because I choose to make that decision that I'll really modify the way I dress. I made that decision, not you forcing it down my throat. And that's the beauty of what the decisions have to be made, that I'm going to do it
for you, because
for you.
I know you.
But it is my choice to do it.
That's how it should be.
Not you forcing me to do it for you.
That's how it should be. I think you're right. Don't try and change your partner. Let them still be creative with who they are. That for me is crucial, because that keeps their happiness going. That's what I'm saying. Women will tend to like their shoes and their bags.
Yeah.
You know, they might spend a fortune on it once in a while, but don't try and stop them from doing it.
They'll come and say to you that, you see, when I talk to you, you don't listen.
No, I'm like, you know what you do is what you do. That's what it says. What you do, the same way what I do is what, we forgot our passions. And it's very important we are allowed to follow our passions and not be restricted in kind of following them, because then that also takes something out of you, and that's right. You are not you anymore.
Yes.
And that then brings other issues.
But that is when for me, in a relationship, after we've planned the family budget and everything, both partners have to have money to spend on themselves. So if I decide to save my let me say personal allowance or whatever I have, I save it 3 months and I decide to go and buy shoes that cost £450. That is me. You shouldn't see it and panic, because at the end of the day, you had yours, you use it for your toys. I had mine, I use it for my shoes and my handbags. Yeah. And at times, people don't even have, both men and women in those relationships, they don't even have the choice to even do that. They don't even have the choice. At times it's presented, oh, I'm taking you shopping, and before you realize, oh, pick this, pick that, I like that on you, I like that on you, I like that on you. Before you realize, your own personal sense of style is gone.
And that is my big issue, because it happens a lot. You know, it happens a lot. People try to change the other. I mean, if you're changing the person,
it's presented in a loving way. I love you so much, and I'm taking you shopping.
If you're trying to change the person for the better, it's fine. It depends on how you do it and what the whole setting is about.
The motive behind it changing.
It's the motive behind it. It's also maybe how, because some people generally might be colorblind. They don't know how to pair and combine things together.
So that's why I bring a professional in. You bat out, pay somebody.
No. Sometimes it's okay because you're the wife or the husband. It's okay to say to them that, oh, maybe this doesn't actually go with this trouser, so try that and try that. I mean, that should be okay. But for me, it is when the person is trying to impose his or her idea of what you should be.
Look like,
that is what I think is wrong.
I think you can suggest it, but if they go, no, I think I want to wear this, then you back off. No, seriously.
If we're not going to wear that outfit, then we are not going now.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay, I've got a comment right here that I am going to read out. It's a long one, but I'm going to read it. And this is from Aisha from US of A. Thank you so much for texting. So she says that in my marriage, routine lets me do things without thinking, or rather do things while thinking of something else. But it's not ideal. It gets boring. So routine gets boring. And then he says, however, it's not what makes a relationship interesting. Spontaneity and mixing it up is what it takes. So that is so true. I think mixing things up actually helps, because then it becomes a bit boring, a bit predictable. And then she goes on to say the textbook is usually things like going out for a meal. This can feel arbitrary and not particularly romantic. Instead of branching is necessary, we all love surprises, right? Yeah. So I think that is a good one. I like surprises. So she's giving us an example. He says, hubby had a boys' night out recently with the help of one of his friends. Found out where they were and joined them pretending to be a girl chatting him up, and he loved it. Whoa, I think that's a lovely one. That's a lovely one. But then if it had gone wrong, then I don't know, surprise, how that surprise would have gone. He says he left his friend and we spent the rest of the night together pretending we just met. He enjoyed it too much. Oh, this is a good one. So she also says that sexual intimacy. Sex is very important part of romance and love. If you're not having enough sex or not trying hard enough to keep the sexual excitement on a high, you'd find yourself bored with your relationship in no time. You may think you're content with the lack of sexual intimacy, but in reality, that's because both of you are turning into siblings instead of a romantic couple. And she says, oh, Selassie, as for our shoes and bags, there's no compromise, girl. I am with you on that one. So yes, I think the surprises are quite nice, but you should know the person that you're with, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Because like she's saying, she sprung up on him.
If I'm out with the boys, please.
My dear, Justice is disagreeing here. But her husband loved it.
Yeah, but you see, but that's what we're talking about. One thing we've not really said much about is your me time.
Oh yeah.
We are married, but I need some time to be able to catch up with.
You need to feed yourself, and once you're satisfied, when you overflow, you bring that overflow into your relationship. So
when I'm out with the boys, I'm out with the boys. It's a boy thing, and no surprises on that
one. What kind of surprise would you want? Would you want to be visited at work with a sandwich and a little peekaboo? No. Would that work for you?
This is quite traditional.
That won't work either. That will go, what are you doing here?
Justice, you're boring.
I think with Justice, you have to discuss it with the boss, and the boss has to be in with the surprise.
I know.
I think that would be the best.
Oh God! Yeah.
Even that, I can imagine his face. Right? Yeah. He's gonna be like, "What the heck was that?" But hey, but some surprises. I think you should know your partner and what they want and what takes, make them tick. And if these kind of surprises make them tick, then yeah, of course, why not?
And I think one big tip is instead of waiting for birthdays and Christmas and things to buy presents,
use any opportunity to celebrate.
Just buy it and give it to them occasionally, and that is a big thing, because that is a big surprise because they're not expecting it.
I was just about to say that. I mean, we've done love languages, but when it comes to these things, that is when you have to know. And I was talking about growing in a relationship. As we grow, our love language changes. What makes us happy, things change. So we have to make it a point to know. And then when you know that your spouse's love language has changed, or you suspect it, you try to speak that language, because you cannot be speaking something that your spouse does not understand. So we make it a point to speak each other's love language. We make time. As in the UK, we don't have time, but you have to make it.
I think these days, not just in the UK.
Everywhere.
Yeah. Because I go to Ghana and I see some of, my mates working, and they're running around like a headless chicken as well. Even though they've got the helpers, the maids, and the what have you. But then sometimes I look at the time they leave home for work and the time that they get back home. And I'm thinking, I thought we had it worse, but then they're also going through a bit. So now, what do you do when you feel that your spouse disrespects you at every given opportunity? It's like they don't really care about your feelings. Sometimes you go to a party or a gathering or something, and the way they even talk to you, with this regard of who is there and who is not.
For me, I would say that when you make that realization, you have to have a chat to them about it. And at times, you don't have to go angry or aggressive. And you have to select instances that it has happened and how it made you feel. You have to speak clearly, take your emotions out of it, tell them as it is, and then give them the chance to make amends. If they don't make amends, then you have to bring help in. Or you have to tell them that because of ABCD, I choose not to go to these functions with you. So you make that cautious effort. Maybe you are doing it and you are not realizing it, but at a point, Are we going to come up with things that when I feel that you are going overboard, I draw your attention? Will you respect me in that moment enough to say that when I squeeze your hand or when I rub your back, you realize that I'm going on that negative way, so I will hold back? These are all little things that we can do, but is that spouse ready to listen?
Yeah, because I've heard people, a couple of people say that I don't like going out with my spouse.
I know.
because when I'm out with him or her, I don't feel myself.
Because you have to put on a persona to suit his...
I don't feel myself. And like I said, I mean, there being instances where, you've laughed and the person would hit you and says, oh, you laughed too loud. and you've coughed and the person is hitting you and saying that, oh, you didn't cover your mouth when you coughed. All those little things. So it makes you are always on
perfect.
You are always on edge when you are with that person.
We're not perfect.
Yeah.
So
well, because they want to present you like you are like in a robot-like fashion.
But we are not robots and we are not models. We are human beings. Let us be
human.
Yes.
Let's be human.
And for me, these are the little things that I get worried about when someone says
they are not
that to me.
little things. They are big deal because once that thing happens, it spoils your whole week.
It does.
I think
it really does.
I think it's a difficult one because I think your wife or your husband, apart from your children, are the most important things in your life. And if you are willing to disrespect them in public, embarrass them in public, then there's something really wrong.
Yeah.
No matter how you look at it, then there's something really, really wrong there. And so I think what you said, Celeste, was perfect. You've got to have a chat. If it doesn't work, you need to escalate it. Oh, yeah. Because unless you want it to continue, if that, because sometimes, as I said, men or women, we can be funny. Sometimes we don't realize what we're doing. And so, as I said, don't be aggressive, don't be angry. Say it in a clear voice. Give examples so that the person actually understands or empathizes with you in what is happening. And if they still don't change, then it means it's deliberate. No, that for me, we are human. But the one thing about human beings is we need to change when we are told we've made a mistake.
Yeah,
that's my policy.
Yes.
If you don't change after you've been told you're doing something wrong, that means you're being deliberate.
And your relationship does not mean anything to you.
Yeah, but then some people think that, for instance, someone will say, you know what, a man might say, I'm the head of the family, so what I say is what happens. So even if you tell them that you should...
So why didn't you marry yourself?
Anyway, let's take a quick break. We would be right back.
Consider that life wasted. Consider the heart of the family ripped apart. Consider the potential never realized. Are these the things you consider when you carry a knife? It's not about street cred or respect. It's about staying alive. Drop that knife and save a life. Quentin Slowly, supporting all family and young people.
What do you like for breakfast?
Well, it depends what mood I'm in. If I'm happy, I like a little bit of porridge with banana because I'm feeling healthy. If I'm in a...
Me, I like a bit of fruit. Nice apples, sliced apples.
I love
banana.
A cinnamon and raisin bagel, some scrambled eggs, and a...
I say nice English bread.
Salad, fruit and oranges.
I like wholemeal bagel with a bit of cream cheese on it and some bacon and then some avocado. And on the side, I like to have
fried egg with bacon, with baked beans, toast.
I normally take my cocoa.
Yeah, I'm a Ghanaian. I'm a typical Ghanaian, so I like my cocoa.
I'm not too sure. I normally don't eat breakfast.
It doesn't matter how you like your breakfast, or you may not like breakfast at all, but you will love the sound of your radio when the breakfast is Afropolitan. Watch out for the new ABN Radio Breakfast Show with Efuadum. ABN Radio, London's Afropolitan radio station.
Hi, this is Rodney Hines.
And I'm Michael.
Join us on the Voice of Sports show each and every Saturday on ABN Radio.
We'll keep you bang up to date with all the latest football scores and we'll discuss all the big talking points in the world of sport. So don't forget, join us this Saturday, 4 till 6 on ABN Radio UK.
ABN Radio, home of Afrobeats.
Welcome back to the Bedtalk Show with me, Adwoa. We are live on ABN Radio. And here with me in the studio is Selassie and Justice. And I have got a question for you from Aisha. Well, Justice, she says that, wow. Yes, I mean, she says that, okay, I know and I agree with me time. Mahabi and I are very independent, but we also come back to base on a high. I like that. So now she's asking you lot, not me, but you two. So she says that, let me ask you guys, when was the last time you did something crazy when driving home with your spouse? Do you remember?
I'm trying to find the right answer. In the she's in the US, isn't she?
Yes.
Tell her in the UK you do something crazy, you get into trouble. You get into big trouble quickly.
So, but still, people take the chance. People
take. I like snogging at the bus stop.
Is it again?
Snogging at the bus stop.
Wow.
Yeah.
As I wait for the bus.
Oh wow.
I just love to do it.
That's your thing.
Yeah, but that's nothing though. It's just snogging. It's not like you're doing anything
or kissing my
extra.
Being a traditional person.
No, kissing my husband.
You don't kiss out?
No.
That's a tough one.
Is that like a GSCS kind of trait?
No, Aisha, I also like to kiss my husband after church.
Is that a trait? Anyway, moving on.
I have to be very careful. How much I give you. You're getting points from me to go and use it somewhere else.
We all need those pointers, Justice.
I think you need to educate us a bit more, because
Aisha, send us some tips, please.
Exactly. She is saying that she was born in the UK. She's lived here before, actually, and so so that is not an excuse. I mean, I think she's talking about some of these rights where you're probably sitting down. I mean, you're driving, but then your hand is on the thigh.
Just make a slip.
Yes, you're moving it up and down.
An automatic car.
Well,
your hands are free.
It doesn't matter, Justice.
Even if the husband is driving and it's manual, the wife could be holding and touching. So you're ready before you get there. And then
just a peekaboo.
During winter time too, it gets dark quicker. So
wow,
come on.
Really
so Aisha, Justice is blushing.
Tell her we've taken it on board.
Next week we'll have answers for you.
Yeah, we'll start thinking about that.
Wow, that is interesting. But yes, I I love Aisha because she's so spontaneous. She does things. And I remember one of the times that she actually said something. She actually went to the husband's workplace. It was her lunch, his lunchtime. He knew what time his lunch was. Went there and with a sandwich, and she went with. I think she was wearing something, but then nothing underneath. Or wow. Yeah,
coat,
so
yeah.
When the husband came out, Aisha, I think you need to send me that story again so I can say it properly. But then obviously serve
the husband
lunch. And then show a little peekaboo and say to you, this is what is waiting for you when you get home. And to be honest, if you do that, just as if your wife did that, nice. Come on. Yeah. You'll be running home after work. You'll probably...
the rest of the day will be a mess. Sure? I think Justice knows himself. That is why he doesn't do it.
Sure.
Well...
there we go.
But yeah, so what other thing can, what other stuff can people do to try and bring that connection? Especially, how do you deal with the fact that there's no connection between the two of you? That thing is gone, that oomph is gone. You don't feel that love again. Is it workable? How can you bridge that gap once that it's kind of go haywire?
What I would like to say is that when relationship is not working, when there is lack of intimacy, have you realized it? At least the two of you are in that relationship. So a point will come that one of you will realize it. Mm-hmm. And thank God if one of you realize it. And then that is when you make that bold attempt to try to address the issue.
Yeah.
So that is when you find the right moment and call your spouse. And then you have that chat that, this is what I've realized. Do you also feel the same way? Yes, no. And when you're having those conversations, bear in mind that they may not agree with you. You may feel rejected, but if your relationship is important to you, you have to go back. Try and gather the courage again and come back and have that conversation that this is our relationship. We need to sort things out. We cannot leave things that way. We are not talking. We are not having sex. Nothing. We are just living as roommates. We are just living as brothers and sisters. Is this what you want for us? If we don't do something, we're going to lose what we have. So let's do something about it. I think that is the basis you set. Then you start doing something about it.
What about emotional needs? If you feel that your partner is not meeting your emotional needs,
you have to talk about it. Because we both have our responsibilities in a relationship. Yes. As Justice was saying earlier, a man knows what he has to do, a woman knows what he has to do. And if I'm not doing it, do we have that relationship that I am bold enough to come and tell you that my needs are not being met and we should work at it? At the end of the day, it is for better or for worse. So, hey, we're on a journey. Let's enjoy it.
What about the situation that I was talking about? The wife would normally beg the husband for sex.
That means this guy has lost interest and he's having it somewhere.
You're funny. You said it doesn't have to be that he's having it somewhere.
I know.
You're saying he's having it somewhere.
No, I know. For me, is it that he has is it a medical problem? For me, when your spouse is going through that, you have to have that chat. Is it medical? What are the reasons?
Yeah.
You have to get to the bottom of it, and then you begin to deal with it.
And I think you did say something about at the beginning.
Yes.
The beginning of any relationship shows you the instinct of your partner. What I mean is their normal behavior.
Okay.
So if there are sexual positions they prefer, it becomes very obvious. You will know that. You will know their routine. You know the times they want to have sex. You would know that. You know the type of food they like. You know what presents they like. All of those things are very predictable. I know all the routines. I know what my wife wants. I know that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So, and I know she knows mine. And when things are going wrong, you need to rewind and go back to that.
Back to drawing board.
Because that was what brought you together. That was what started the relationship. And 9 out of 10, that can bring it back.
Because then, I get this guy who we were chatting about, and then this guy was saying that, I was actually talking to him because I had also already spoken to the wife. And the wife was saying that, he wouldn't make love to me. He won't do this. He won't do that. So I called the guy and I was talking to the guy. And the guy is saying that, one, because she's put on too much weight. And every time I say to her that we should go to the gym, she won't go and what have you. And then 2, I like to see her in G-strings and she doesn't like them. I've bought a lot, but she doesn't wear them. So for me, it doesn't, whatever she wears doesn't appeal to me. So I can't be bothered. And so in a way, it's like what I deduced from his conversation, from having a conversation with him, was like he felt that he was doing or he was punishing the wife.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying.
And he knows that the wife is one of these calm, quiet people that don't deserve a person like him. But then he knows again that because of the way the wife is, the wife would not even think of having an emotional affair, let alone even going out. So he was actually withholding
to punish her.
Yes.
Holding affection.
And I think that, what are your thoughts on that?
For me, when you do that in a relationship, you end up destroying your own relationship because it starts, I'm punishing my spouse, I'm punishing my wife.
Which is where it normally starts from.
It starts, and before you realize,
you've destroyed everything.
It will take time. Very soon, that woman will start getting a high from another person. Not really an emotional affair, but just somebody paying her that compliment and somebody paying her that attention. It will happen. Because for how long can you starve me?
I think even now she's gotten to the point where she resents the husband now because of the way he is treating her.
So that resentment, that means that I have closed myself. So even if somebody is showing me that,
which is
that
what she's
attention,
done now.
I would be okay with it because I deserve to be happy.
Yeah. So she would justify that relationship.
Yeah.
She can justify it. And her excuse would be because my husband doesn't do it.
Yeah.
And that is what we are saying.
And that is what we have to try and prevent.
You don't give that person that excuse to justify their behavior. Does that make sense? Yeah. Although, if she doesn't want to go to the gym with him, if she doesn't want to dress the way he wants, I'm not saying it should lead to her being punished.
Yeah.
But she also needs to give a bit.
Compromise.
She also needs to give a bit.
Bikini briefs.
Yeah, we've because he has an image.
Yes.
Of her or of how he wants her to look. And I'm sure she also has an image. Does it make sense?
Only you know, when someone has been with too many girls and have a setting, and this is a girl that, I think this must have been the first or second kind of boyfriend, and then they got married kind of thing. So a bit naive in that sense. And, especially some of the African ladies sometimes change.
As time goes on.
Yeah. Change. So she's not used to G-string. She doesn't like. She feels uncomfortable. That's what she says.
So I'll suggest that he should get her some nice lacy bikini briefs.
Okay, so there you go. Lacy bikini briefs. That could work. Okay, so hey, moving on. Now, what do you do also when you don't sexually desire your partner or your spouse?
Fake it till you make it.
The thing is, sometimes how do you fake it? Some people are not pretenders. Some people can't fake.
Yeah.
Some people are like, I'm not in the mood. I don't desire you.
Yeah, you know what?
And that's it.
You're right. You're right, because I've heard of quite recently something involving somebody I know, and it shocked me.
Okay.
But you are right. Something happens for that to happen.
Yeah.
And all we're trying to say here is don't start that thing for it to happen.
But if it has happened, you have to retrace your steps.
It depends if that person is willing to because some things are so hurtful.
Yeah.
Can you give an example, please, Justice?
Okay. Assuming you are married and you love your husband or you love your wife, and you find out that they are having an affair. Not just a fling, but
full blown,
a
3 years affair.
For a long time.
Yeah.
It makes sometimes things break in you.
It shocks you.
It shocks you. It breaks you.
Yeah. And it takes time for you to heal.
To heal. And it can take a long time.
I think last week we spoke about it, and I was saying that you need time to grieve, and your spouse should respect that time that you're grieving.
And that is one of those scenarios whereby when it's happened, then the man or the woman has to realize it was through their own actions that has happened.
Yes.
And they must be willing to give their partner, as far as the partner is willing to stay in the relationship, you should even thank your God for that. And then give them the opportunity to heal.
Yeah.
Once they've healed, and time heals.
But some of them put a time span on it.
No, there should be no time span.
I remember last week Adwoa was saying that.
No, I was saying that it
shouldn't be too long.
I said it should
Who
not
are you
be
to
too
tell me
long.
when I should grieve?
Yeah, again, I will hammer on that.
Who are you to tell me that my grieving should take 2 months, should take 3 months?
We know some of you overdo it.
Yes, you are not.
So for me, I want you to be committed to wooing me back, to really romance me.
No, Selassie, you are not grieving over a death.
The death of my relationship, the death of trust in my relationship.
Yes,
the loss of trust.
However,
the thought of my spouse doing it to somebody else, it's a big deal.
It's a big deal. But if you let it fester for too long,
then you
drift apart.
We drift. But in that moment, what has he done to win me back? Is he just saying some casual "I'm sorry" and you think that I should bounce back? No.
But why are you thinking that his sorry is casual?
Because you know him.
No, but don't go into his mind. Don't try and think for
what
him.
You present to me.
If he says that he's sorry, take it on face value.
And then allow me to also grieve the loss of trust in my relationship.
But don't go over 6 months like you were trying to suggest.
I didn't say that. But for me, don't put a life and say that 1 month is okay. Don't say that my grieving to take 1 month.
No, it shouldn't take too long. Yes, you can grieve. You're allowed to do that.
So in that moment, I will allow you to kiss me. I'll allow you to hold my hand, and then gradually we are going.
Exactly. You've got to pick yourself up. You can't
so but don't say that after 1 month, full blown sex.
No, it can't be full blown, but you've got to make the effort. You've got to let him see that, okay.
So it is up to me to make the effort. What about the responsibility on him?
You can make the effort in other ways.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? And still starve him.
That's what I'm saying. Let him know that.
For him, you can still do everything you want to do.
I am very hurt.
But the fact is that when you approach me, the mere thought of you lying on top of another woman,
I know it can be it can be a put off. That's why with that he needs to understand. With that he needs to understand. But then it's how you communicate to him to understand. It's how you communicate to him to say, "Give me some more time." Do you see?
There has to be communication.
Yes,
that's
but
key.
if he just comes and you just fob him off, he comes and you just fob, that is not good. Let him understand that, you know what, I have forgiven you.
That's why you need
but I need time.
That's why you need proper help, because at times these things we try to do it ourselves. Yes, we try to do it ourselves, but it has to be done properly.
Wow. Okay, so some more information about when you don't desire your spouse and you don't feel sexually attracted to him. What do you do? How can you bring that spark slowly back into the relationship?
So Justice gave an example. So for me, go back and see where you started emotionally drifting apart. What caused the problem? And then that's when you take steps to practically 1, 2, 3 ABC steps.
Yes.
Because it will not just happen. So we're not having sex, we're not holding hands, we're not kissing. Even if we have sex, it's just a hookup. So that is when you have to start dating your spouse. You go on date nights, I speak your love language, the letters, the writing of the notes, the being intentional in your relationship.
Yeah.
You have to do it. And I would say that at times when you do it, your spouse does not even see it. But for the betterment of your relationship, you go back and you do it. You go back and you do it. If you persist, you shall reap that reward.
And to add to that, pampering each other.
Yes.
Is key. But the women, you have the upper hand in this all the time.
What do you mean?
Tell us. You're listening.
Women have, men are, we are gullible sometimes. We are gullible.
You think so?
Oh, easy. Easy.
True.
We are very gullible. And
true.
So,
you should flaunt it in.
That's it. That's what I want to say. Make it very, not very obvious, but there's a way you put it across.
Make him desirable.
That's
you
it.
Desire him.
And he will desire, we are as stubborn as we can be. But it gets to a point where we give in. Because that's who we are.
Right.
So I think what Justice is trying to say is that you should know your man.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's key.
So when that intimacy is broken and you have made that realization, you have to take it upon yourself
to revive it.
And then revive it. So,
but do men take it upon themselves to revive it? Because like Justice says, sometimes they can be very stubborn. And especially if you know that you have done something that is what has caused your woman to withdraw, to shut down. What are you doing about it?
That's when even the spouse does not even apologize.
Yes. Even when the woman says that, give me time, are you just going to sit there and just wait because she says, give me time? What about the little dating, like you said,
doing
wooing.
your bits, doing your bits.
Again, it comes back to how important you think the relationship is to you.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes back to us realizing that we should not forsake each other.
Yes.
And think we can take each other for granted. If as a man you are willing to understand it from that point of view, then you do everything you can to let the woman feel wanted.
Yeah.
And to feel loved again. Because you know at the end of the day, you've strayed away and you've come back home.
Yes.
So you are the one who needs to do more of the work.
Yeah, and I wish that a lot of men will really understand that. But however, I know someone who actually did that, and he went length and breadth. And I must say that I admired him for that, because he realized what he had done. He realized that he had done wrong. And so even at the point where it had happened and the wife was like, you know what, I'm not even sleeping in the same room with you. What he started doing was he knew the wife loved flowers. So he would just order flowers from work. I mean, deliver it to her at work. Order chocolate, deliver it to her at work. When he came home, he would cook, set a table. Meanwhile, this is someone, he knows how to cook but won't cook.
Yeah.
But at that time, I think
put all the stuff. He pulled everything out of the bag.
And I admired him.
Because he wanted his relationship back.
He did.
And that's what we say.
Yes.
He wanted it back. He didn't want to lose it.
And even when they started getting, he would take her to the cinemas. They would go for, wine and dine and what have you. He actually did the wooing all over again.
Good. That's what I'm talking about.
But then a lot of men don't do it.
They don't
because they don't see the importance.
Is it because they don't care?
They don't see the importance of the relationship.
Yeah, they think they can do it. You've repeatedly said that.
Yeah.
They think they can do without it. They have.
That's it. I think that
they have the money. They have the distance, so they don't see what you contribute towards your life. But I think when it comes to you are on the verge of losing your relationship. At times, reality kicks in.
I think if it could work, is for them to actually lose it,
and then try to find it.
Then they will realize how important their wife was
to them,
to their life.
Yeah.
Because we are all arrogant. We are all proud and this and that and I don't need you no, actually you're not realizing it.
Yeah.
But if that person left your life, there's a void that will come in that is so sad. That will
even affect your work.
It can. You will think twice about that. That's why you must not take people for granted.
I think in a relationship, we all have responsibilities, and we should know what we are supposed to do, and we should
make sure we're doing it. You have to
do it 100%. There are times that you are performing at 20% because of pressures, but at least you do something.
Yes.
Not doing anything, even if you're contributing even a 1%, it's even better than not doing anything. At least I know that you are doing something. There is hope.
Yes. Wow. So how else can we introduce affection and passion into such relationships to help them build this relationship?
So we talked about finding out what the problem was.
Yeah.
And then
they need to have the conversation.
So you talk about it and then you say that, so this is the problem. So you set yourself little targets or exercises to do. So you finish talking this week. What are we going to do for date night? We're going to do A, B, C, D. You make sure you do it. Even if certain emergencies happen and you don't do it, you have to try and do it again. And then you see how it goes. And then you come back and talk. Oh, when we went on the date, I felt this way. I felt so loved. I felt relaxed and I really enjoyed it. So next time, let's do things. For me, setting little targets or setting little things to do
to keep it
as a couple. Today I'm going to finish work early, so I'm going to meet you and we're going to pick the bus or we're going to pick the train, and so that we have a pastor came to our church once and he said because of his schedule, so he prefers to drive his wife to work every day because that's the only time that they can have intimate conversation. And I really appreciate that, like, he has decided to do that because his wife has her own car bar, she parks it so that 1 hour drive
is when they can actually have time.
They can have time to talk without the kids. So I always use this word, make the create the extraordinary out of the ordinaries. It's just an ordinary car drive, but he has realized that
out of it,
now this is the time that we can talk and we can share. So look at your schedule. How do you travel to work? Is there a way that you can pick a bus, or you can walk each other to the bus stop? Little practical things to do.
Quite interesting, actually.
Yeah. So what if they haven't had intimacy for a while? How do they approach each other? How do they, kind of start it?
I think with that, you cannot rush it. You cannot rush the intimacy, because if you're not too careful and you don't start it off naturally again, then you get a bad taste again. and then you think, actually, you know what? I think we've lost it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I think we are grateful for who we are. Our bodies will always decide for us. And I think if you put the right things in place, the dating, going out shopping, and after that going to the movies, doing those little things, naturally your bodies would be open enough for you to appreciate each other.
So you set the scene for your bodies
to come, yes, because it has to be
mesh together.
It has to come together naturally.
So maybe initially start watching TV together,
holding hands.
That's it.
Because we shouldn't target that at the end of the day we'll have sex.
Yeah. That's what I want to say.
Take that out of your mind. Maybe at the end of that date you may hold hands, or you may just kiss, or you may just brush. Your hands may just brush or rub against her back. And you should be content with that.
Don't force it.
Don't force it. Don't force it. And then gradually you build it. Understand that it is a process.
Yeah.
So you were holding hands, you were rubbing your hands against each other. The next time, what do? You do another thing. So I believe that you have to do things that are activity based.
Okay,
you do things for, I don't know. What activities do you do? Do you like running? Do you like going for walks? Something that is practical, that will get both of you active. As much as you have the passive ones that you sit and watch movies and the rest. Do mix it together, because I believe that we all have interests.
Yes, of
course. My husband likes watching Formula One. I don't like watching all those things. But at a point, I will sit with him and I'll ask all the silly questions. But at times, I just shut up and just observe his actions. And I laugh at how he reacts. So it is not something that I would do. I would like to watch old costume dramas and stuff like that. But because I want to spend quality time, so I'll sit with you to do it. So we do your hobby, you do my hobby, and at a time we compromise in the middle. So because your spouse knowing that my wife hates golf, but she's sitting there trying to enjoy and trying to look cute beside me, speaks a lot.
Wow. Okay, what else can one do?
Justice.
Justice.
I was the one who just talked.
I think we've said it all. I think
pretty much though.
Yeah, I think we've said it all. I think that being honest is key. That is why you need to have the chat. I think that is crucial, because if you don't admit to the fact that there's a problem, then you can't sort out the problem.
At what point do you have that chat? Was it when you start wooing, or when you start going for walks and stuff?
When one of you make that realization that things are going wrong.
Then you have the chat.
Whoever made that realization, then you call that chat. You have that conversation.
I think that is the first thing you do.
Right.
And then hopefully the other party would agree to it and say, actually, you're right. We're not doing A, B, C, D, E, F.
Okay. So for us, it doesn't turn into an argument.
That is when you have to know, in those conversations, you don't go being confrontational, because you are being constructive. You want to build your relationship.
Yes.
You are not going to destroy things. So you are not going accusing. So you have to pick your words carefully, saying that this is what I've realized.
You suggest. You don't. You say, have you realized?
Okay.
Do you think? Rather than.
But the thing is, when you go and you say, do you think? And he says, no, I don't think.
Fair enough. You go back.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you go back.
Is it not better to present the thing as it is and say, you know what? this is what is going on.
I think you should know how your spouse, you communicate with your spouse. So you should tailor-made it to you should make it to suit him.
Or is it better to tell them how you feel? So that it opens the door for
what
him
is,
to then
what
also
is going on? I think you presented what is going on and the impact it's having on you and your relationship.
On you and I don't think even on you and your feelings for him or for her. I think that is crucial.
Yes.
I think we, as much as we are not scared of losing them. We're also scared of losing.
Yeah.
So when they realize, actually, you know what I'm doing is having an impact on how they feel about me. That is a scary thought, and sometimes that can change them into doing what they have to do right, rather than the relationship. The relationship is abstract. It doesn't really affect them. It's a relationship out there. But if you say, because of what you're doing to me, I'm losing the love I have for you, now that is a different conversation.
Right.
Does that make sense? Because that is, you are telling them. And they need to then realize, hold on.
They need to sit down that, you know.
Do I really want to lose that?
At times, they may not even say anything.
But they will go and think about it.
But then you say that because they said that, oh, so I have planned for us to go to the movies on Friday. Because I realized that both of us are off. So can we? So you back it up with a positive action and say that, can we do this? At times we have to take the steps. We don't have to wait for them because you have realized it. You look for information, see what you can do. So I've booked, we're going to the theater on Saturday. I've booked babysitters for the kids and everything. You are proactive. Is he going to say no? Some people will be stubborn to say no, but I believe that you have to stick your ground because at the end of the day, it is your marriage.
Amazing. I think we've had a very interesting conversation this evening. And yes, settling in a wrong relationship, indeed, it can happen. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Bedtalk Show this evening. And yes, just a quick to let you know that we will probably from next week, Sunday, we will be rebroadcasting or repeating our programs that we have on Friday. We will be repeating it at 10 p.m. on Sunday evenings as well. So that if you miss it on Friday, at least you can catch up on Sunday nights from 10. My sex tip for you this evening. I say lean or pleasure. So this is what I say. I say that gets her to lean on something. It could be the dining table, the washing machine, worktop, or even a desk. Now, the thing is that the way or the thing that she leans over is what determines the depth of penetration. Leaning your partner over, say, a table or a desktop or what have you, and taking her from behind requires a little bit of work from her too. But this allows the dude to take in that sexy look of her backside whilst thrusting in and out of her. It is a perfect position for the man to reach around and start rubbing her clit as well, or caress her boobies too. So whilst you are thrusting, she is matching you rhythm for rhythm, stroke for stroke, creating a synchronization that makes everyone happy. So that's my sex tip for you tonight. Thank you to Justice and thank you to Selassie. That's the best bits that I like, you know. When I'm creating them, I'm just smiling. But thank you so much for joining me on the Bedtalk Show. And thank you for tuning in. Your company is always amazing. Do send me an email on bedtalk@abnradiouk.com. bedtalk@abnradiouk.com with any topic that you want us to discuss, or subjects, or, if you've got questions, if you want counseling, what have you. Just send an email and we will pick it up and take it from there. You can also follow me at Tips from Adwoa on Twitter. We will be right here, same time next week with another interesting conversation. So do not miss it. Make sure you tune in next week, same time. And tune in tomorrow for a great lineup of programs. Have a good night and have a good weekend. Bye for now. I'm out.
More news, more information. This is ABN News on the Hour.
One of Britain's most wanted fugitives has been captured by police in Barcelona. 41-year-old Jamie Accord is suspected of being involved in a large-scale drug supply operation. Armed officers detained him as he left the gym earlier. Our reporter Dan Whitehead says he was also once a suspect in the Stephen